Welcome to another edition, No Cap Sports, man. Coming to y'all Christmas week, so happy holidays. So y'all, we gotta start this off. How was y'all's Christmas? Cause I know for me, it was my first year being uncle this year. I'm handing out gifts to my little nieces, all of that. I ain't, you know what I'm saying? Like TJ said earlier, like Christmas different. But I want to ask y'all, how was y'all's Christmas?
Nah, you're not lying. Being adulting for the first time in Christmas definitely a different vibe. Setting your own traditions, not being able to wake up and kind of have the house and the family set and all that. It was definitely different. But I got my mama down here. Having Christmas with two women is definitely an interesting vibe. But you gotta set some of them certain traditions in place. So it wasn't like I said, it looked a lot different from what I had in the past, but we made sure we had Friday at the next playing the night before.
Of
Made sure we
course, of
had
course.
this Christmas going the day of, if you know what I'm saying. Santa Claus going to the ghetto on the speaker. So
Yeah,
in the midst of adult transition, and I had to keep at least some of them base layers, in the crib. And y'all know I'm rocking with the mayo. So it definitely was a different transition. But like I said, you gotta have some of them base things. To make the holidays feel like the holidays. Like you said, nigga, in the midst of adulting, it's some of these traditions that's been around since before we was around. We can't be losing recipes on our watch. You feel what I'm saying?
yeah, nah, for real. How about you, TJ? I see you pulled up New Orleans Breakers today. I don't know if that was your Christmas gift or not, but how was your Christmas game?
Nah, I bought this a while back. I just got to tap into the Grinch. Once I tap into the Grinch, and like Nick said, Friday after next week, cool. That's a little the peanut butter and jelly of Christmas, if you will. After that, I'm chilling. So it was cool. Fight shit.
I'm
No,
already
it,
knowing.
it was it was. I had my girl. We got the decorations up. I think like 2 weeks ago. So no, it's not snowing down here. I mean, my girl, she used to all the snow in New York and them dressing up.
Yeah.
So it was, yeah. I had to be a little bit proactive. So we definitely had I'd be with background noise. But Home Alone 2, I think Polar Express last week. I don't know why. Like it's that's like I don't know. That was like it was some nostalgia, like some childhood, like some schoolhouse and stuff like that. I feel like that's definitely one of the last movies that you watched in school
Nah,
before
God.
break. So I think that was like a week ago or so when it's called like halfway through and was like, hey, it's the season. So that got I think like once I seen that turned me up. So I now I'm in the midst of once we get through next week, we're gonna take all these damn decorations down. That's where I'm at right with this.
Nah, for real. But like y'all said with the movies, the Christmas traditions never change. And one Christmas tradition that's gonna always hold a special place in my heart is NBA on Christmas, man. And boy, oh boy, did we get some good hoops on Christmas. So let's walk through these games and let's just talk about them, man, because we ain't talked NBA in a minute. So this is gonna be all kind of like little catch up. Look at a couple teams, look at the NBA as a whole, and kind of just talk what's going with the NBA right now. So first game on Christmas was a great one. Looking at that Knicks Spurs game, Wemby in MSG on Christmas Day. What was y'all's just biggest takeaway from that first Christmas game? Looking at the Knicks and the Spurs.
He's here. There's been so much hyperbole around Victor Wembanyama, and I guess deservedly so because he legitimately a basketball instance that we never seen, and not in the overused way that we applied it to a Cooper Flag or insert number one overall pick here in the last 10 years. He truly is something that we've never seen on the basketball floor before, at least not in this country. So you got Nike live tweeting during his performance. You got just the cinema of a guy that's supposed to be next up in the league doing it in the garden. I was a year early last year when I said the Spurs could compete for a playing spot because we've seen the singular force that guy is on the court, even it hasn't translated to winning so far. But even with the lackluster cast that he has now, to take that team, the Knicks, which completely, they gonna dub, but I think they're a top five team in basketball right now. I think it says all you need to know in terms of the advancement in the curve that Vic is on in terms of how quickly he can transform the Spurs into maybe not championship contenders, but a team that's going to be a hard out in the playoffs every year. So they're 4-2 over the last 2 weeks. They're in the ninth spot in the West right now. The crazy stuff that he's doing is starting to translate to winning basketball, and we didn't expect it to happen that soon. So it was even the shot making down the end of the stretch. Like you would, coming into this game, you would thought that this is a showcase for Vic, but this is gonna be a Knicks blowout. So to see Vic get off and to see it be a game that you need a Michael Bridges 40 ball for the Knicks to win, I think it signifies that it's time to put the hyperbole down. And this is a guy that looks like a top 10, a top five player in the league already. And we could be looking at the Spurs this time next year, the team that is not even in the playoffs, looking fight for home court advantage in the playoffs.
I think he better clear his calendar on Christmas from now on because if he just wanted to, play one game, get in and out, every few years they roll him out. Now they finna roll
Yeah,
him out like Mac McClung on All Star Week, and they finna be rolling him out every single week. I mean, every single year. Now they probably won't get that many home games, but if they can get him a marquee matchup, but it's crazy because I don't even know if they intended for it to be a marquee game. They just wanted him on display, and then
exactly.
Bridges took over, and then he's like, "Oh wait, don't forget about me." The thing I like about Wemby is not necessarily even basketball related. Just watching his confidence. Like if you watch him now, like when he dunks, when he hits free throws, when he's celebrating, he's flexing, he's like almost becoming like a little bit more American, a little bit more swaggy. Like when he first come on the scene, he was a little bit like clunky and like reserved, but now he's flexing on them. He getting in their face. He's popping his, he's talking his talk.
He's embraced being a star, bro.
He had this kind of like weird aesthetic about him, like he's in bed by 9:30 and he only goes to the grocery store. And now it's like we might see Wemby pop out next game with a Cuban and a Dickie fit. He's. I like how American he's becoming. Like he's enjoying, not just being this prodigy. Like it's almost like he's kind of meshing with his squad. But again, he better clear out his calendar. Ethical hoops. I think Wemby had to balance out the Mikal Bridges. No disrespect to him, but 40 from him. When you got these other guys, I think we had a little
Mhm.
bit. We needed some balance. So we needed some ethical hoops on the other side. That's crazy.
No, I
40.
agree. I agree. Mikal Bridges
That's
was
crazy.
crazy
That's
because
crazy.
a 41 ball from Mikal Bridges is not what I had on my bingo card. The
Never.
goddamn Brooklyn Nets, Mikal Bridges showed up in New York.
That was crazy.
But I will say, Mikal Bridges was my biggest takeaway from that game, though.
Mm.
Because if you look at it over his last 6 games, he's shooting 45% from three. You look at how he started the year, and a lot of the problems the Knicks were having were with him being able to hit shots consistently and also play well on the defensive end. You look at that Christmas game, he took 25 shots, bro. Jalen Brunson took 23. Not to say he's becoming the alpha, but he's becoming that key piece who can who is what the Knicks traded for when they made that trade. A guy who can go out and potentially swing a game like we saw against the Spurs. So for me, my biggest takeaway is the Knicks might have really solidified themselves as that number two in the East. There was some conversations about the Milwaukee's, especially coming off their cup victory, some conversations about Philly if they got healthy, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But with a victory like that and seeing the way this Knicks team played as a whole, looking at Cat giving you 20, looking at JB giving you 20, and 40 from Mikal, you don't know who's going to get off on any given night. And that's a team that seriously scares me in the East.
No, you're like you're definitely right. Like even looking at the team construction from last year in the playoffs, they were so reliant on Jalen Brunson. There's a guy that a guard that small constantly, having to create his own shot, create contact and
Yeah,
isolate and make things, out of it wasn't a lot. I mean, and Tom Thibodeau's a great defensive coach, but the offensive stagnation, you could just, it was hard on the eyes, watching Jalen Brunson do all that last playoff. And now talk about the shot making development from OG and Anobi. Obviously, Cat, we'll talk about that, but I definitely think
yeah, yeah.
offensively, the Knicks came up with that trade. And like you said, Bridges, I think Kevin O'Connor said he's merging essentially that number one scorer player archetype that he had in Brooklyn with the role player role that he played in Phoenix. Talking about being able to reliably create his own shot, but also some of the defense has picked up. Like he started
Exactly.
the year as a sieve essentially on the defensive end, which was a far cry from what we expected and is one of the the more impactful 3-and-D guys in the league. So it is I like that because that was definitely something I was thinking about too. Like looking at this Knicks team last year in the playoffs with Brunson being the only guy that you trusted to to create an open look for himself in the crunch. I think that with Cat, Bridges, OG, and Brunson now you taking that you have one shot creator in the clutch that you trust from 4. So I think the offensive diversity for them is a lot more wide open. And I think that, you look at Memphis, you look at Boston, you look at the Knicks. I think that they really separated themselves in terms of, level of depth that they have on a night to night basis.
Level up. Whoa, whoa. We're not gonna talk about depth because in that Christmas game, Tom Thibodeau played 6 niggas 30 minutes.
They
So
have no bench, or if they did, they don't want to use them. We be
not at
seeing
all.
Kolak every night.
Respect, respect.
Hey, no cap. Like like I said, the Knicks scare me with their performance on Sunday or on Christmas. But I think that depth is still what's gonna come back to haunt them once we get to the playoffs. Because you got to think about it, bro. It was December 25th. Playoffs, finals. That shit don't get going until May, June, and you playing Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson 38 minutes playing Mikal Bridges 43. Could get shiesty once you get to the back end of the season. But like I said, I like what I'm seeing from Mikal Bridges. I like what I'm seeing from the Knicks. To y'all's point, I like what I'm seeing from Wemby as well, and the old man with the transparent fade he getting the balls from.
Nah, that's a you definitely right. Not depth because you definitely talking about your 6'7", your 6'7", 8'9" guys. I think in terms of your playoff rotation that you'll trust, I think you're taking two, mostly 7 or 8. I think that their top 6 is gonna be right up there with anybody's in the league. That's what I'll go with.
Mm, mm-mm. So moving on, next game we got to talk about, and this one unfortunately got sidetracked by injury to Luca, but that Dallas Minnesota game, a big game, a rematch of the Western Conference Finals from last year. What was y'all's biggest takeaway from that game?
I'm here to TJ spread his hate narrative. So pop it off, twin. I want to hear what you got
Oh,
to say
I
first.
don't got to spread it. The numbers speak for themselves. The biggest thing that I saw or like realized is like we've seen them not be so Luka dependent, but they've kind of circled back to it now, and like they literally collapsed as he went down. I like how they kind of fought back, but they just had the report that he's going to be out for a month. Like this is a team that what were they 14 and like 2 over the last few get like they just went on this crazy run out of nowhere, vaulted into the West, and now they taking a few steps back. I think they need to figure it out quickly because from this report they say at least a month, but we know how that goes. Luka, I wouldn't say he's been an injury prone guy, but like those injuries have always been scary. They've been lower towards the foot and the ankle and the Achilles. Like sometime, maybe soon, like we might get one of them. You're like, damn, but it's just like a symptom of they kind of wearing him out. They need the others. Like this team is very well structured. Like they have defense, they have other playmakers. They kind of gotta use them going forward. And we saw that when they rallied. But like those additions that they had, Gafford and PJ, like I think that'll help them because before then, if it was just Luka gone and they didn't have anybody else, they'd be kind of screwed. I think they gave themselves a little bit of cushion winning all those games, but once Luka went down, you can kind of see, hopefully not what's getting ready to happen for them, but like they need to realize, like, okay, if we want to compete, we can't just throw the season away because Luka's gone because he's not coming back for a while. So we gotta kind of buckle in. But as for Minnesota, they're a weird team watching them sometimes. Like sometimes you're like, oh, okay, I see how they were so good last year, and then the other time you're like, damn, dude, we got to watch 48 minutes of this. Julius Randle, triple double showed up. You know how you do. But with him, he's kind of inconsistent sometimes. They're like, all right, let him do what he does. He can play make, he can rebound, he can shoot sometimes. Other times you're like, yeah, I see why they gave him up. Minnesota is an interesting team because they'll probably hang out around that 4 or 5 range in the playoffs. And with that new lineup, it's no telling. But the main takeaway was that Luka going down, they need to figure out what they're gonna do moving forward.
For me, Luka's undeniably a top 5 guy, top 3 guy in this league, even. But I kind of like what TJ says. You see it a little bit with Denver, where the personality of the team takes on the personality of your star player. Dallas, I feel like consistently plays harder when Luka's not there. You don't have the heliocentric offense to where you had the positions where it's 1-4 down and got 4 people staring at him. But also on defense, I think the recognition is, we're down a guy, and we that intensity level raised. We've seen it, in the CFP when Carson Beck went in and Gunnar Stockton. You're down a major cog, and you can't. And they trot along, but you know the intensity level has to be raised.
Yeah.
So, like TJ said, the thing with Luka, I think the injury history with Luka. I wouldn't say. I mean, he doesn't do himself any favors by the lack of shape that he comes to the season with. He's on that James Harden flow to where
Yeah.
those lower leg extremities are gonna become nagging things unless he decides to take his body more serious. But whether it's in the game against Memphis where they had that crazy comeback, or like some of these other extended absences without Luca, this isn't a team that is that completely falls apart without a guy like that. So yeah, I don't. There's never a situation where Dallas will be better without Luca, but I think that looking at that crazy comeback and looking at, like CJ said, the additions of Gafford and Live making them a more well-rounded team. You got Clay that's really hit a groove and quite honestly may have more left in the tank than what I would have originally thought. This is a team that is equipped to still stay within that 2 to 4 range without Luca for whether it's going to be 6 weeks or whatever, which I don't think you would say about any other team losing their star in the Western Conference. So I think that you know obviously it's Christmas, you have the lights are bright and all that, but to see them to raise the ante up with their main guy going down, because it was a wash. They was down like 25, so they could have easily packed it up
Yeah.
and they could have packed it in. So I think that speaks to the level of like the all encompassing nature of this team that is not just Luka Doncic. So I think that's a good accord for them. And on the flip side for Minnesota, yeah, like you said, the box score for Randall looks good, but watching the game, it just
Black hole.
like I
Yeah,
said,
it
bro,
doesn't make any sense. Like you like where did this come from?
he looks like he literally every game. I mean, Minnesota. I mean, I know I'm an ant guy after I wasn't an ant guy coming out of the draft, but it literally looks every game like he showed up 30 minutes before. I'm like, oh, what's up, y'all? Like, let's go hoop. Like, just like you said, the ball stopping nature. Just nobody on that team does clear out post ups except him. I mean, most guys in the league don't do it, and even with the assist that he has,
It's
it's
not a
not
pretty
playmaking.
assist. Yeah.
It's I'm trapped. I have no other option. I don't
Yeah,
know what to
throw it
do.
somebody over there. Yeah, he had this play in the beginning. I think I texted in the group chat like Ant was trying to get him to like clear out the other way. He kind of was like he did one of these. This was at the very first set. He was like, "What you want me to do?" He like get from over here. He kind of was like, "Okay." He like wait. He like waves. He was like, "What you want me to do?" And Ant was like, "Damn, bro, what you doing?" Just what he do. Like once
Yeah.
they don't have like this cohesive like. Well, damn, you take. He like, I don't want that shit. It was like the first play. I'm like, damn, is that what they doing? Like, we don't know. Like, they really just threw this team together like 2 minutes before the season started. So we don't know. Like, I guess it takes a special breed to play with Julius Randle. Like, you kind of got to be like, I just let him do him. But like, if you Ant is not that type of guy, so like,
God.
we don't know how that's gonna go. He'd be like, what is this? Like, they literally was about to start beef, and this is the first play. He like, I don't want that shit. Get from over here. He was like, I don't want it. Like, this is basketball. Like sometimes, like you said, it's a black hole. He just kind of like, damn, do I got to be here the whole time?
With the lack of spacing and like the defense the defense has been like he's always been a bad defender, but seeing how that team defended with Cat, who was also a guy that you wasn't expected to protect the rim, versus the drop off they had with Julius Randle, like it shows how poor of a defender he is. So at this point, you gotta, I mean, prior to the side and dollar to the side, they didn't need to do they need to do what Golden State need to do with Dennis Schroeder. Hey, you're a talented guy. You're an offensive dynamo. Come off the bench, lead this second unit, because I don't know, the fit is just seemingly too clear in terms of we need a guy to space the floor for Ant. We need a guy that's going to provide a little bit more rim protection. There's no. I mean, I don't know what assets they had to go make a move, but there's no reason to really go do that when you have a guy that does those things on your bench, and
Yeah.
especially
I
a guy that
mean,
was a six man of the year candidate last year. So I just think that, I mean, Chris Finch, I mean, over half of basketball is managing personalities and beyond managing minutes. At some point, whatever way he's going to have to pacify that situation with them, I just think that this Minnesota team looks drastically better if you put in that Nas Reed rim protection and spacing into the starting lineup.
so I'm gonna keep it simple. I got two takeaways. One of them, I'm gonna start with Julius Randle. Like Draymond Green said, if Minnesota were to have a dynasty, I don't see it happening. But if they were, the dynasty starts after Julius Randle. He's just here for a 1 year rental, expiring contract. Get him off the books, then they're gonna find Ant a true co-star to grow with him. So I'm not going to dive too deep into Julius Randle because y'all already did that. But if you want to talk about a basketball terrorist, especially a guy who is not going to show up when you need him the most, look no longer than the last name Dinwiddie. 0 for 7, 0 for 4 from 3 in 14 minutes. It seems like every time I turn on a game and Spencer Dinwiddie is on that team and you need a bucket, he going to miss that shot, bro. Like I'm tired of seeing mediocre Spencer Dinwiddie minutes, and it's like he always ends up on a team that like is a contender. Like Dallas, what it was 2, 3 years ago when Luka got hurt, and it was Dinwiddie time. Terrible. Brooklyn when D'Lo took them to the playoffs, Dinwiddie terrible. Like if you are a contending team, do not sign Spencer Dinwiddie.
He was on the Lakers.
I was about to say
That's
He
what
was
LA.
on the
exactly,
Lakers.
bro. Like if you are a contending team, that's my biggest takeaway from this Mavs Timberwolves game. If you're a contending team, do not sign Spencer Dinwiddie. Like y'all talking about Julius Randle, that's how I feel about Spencer Dinwiddie, bro. Like just what value does he provide you?
No, it is so. I mean, it's so easy to be. It's a lot easier to be fooled by a Dimwitty versus a Julius Randle. He's 6'6". He can play point. He can handle. He can make shots off the ball. Like we've seen multiple teams in this league
Yeah,
fall for what he can be theoretically. But now, I agree with you too. Because watching that game, but also transparently, a guy with that skill level and that size should be, consistently
exactly.
more impactful. But nah, you're right. He's Dallas Marcus Smart. I think you would say. I think that's an apt comparison to put out there.
Just go ask Kyle Kuzma.
And that's
And it's
the
crazy. I just seen him a
craziest
clip.
NBA beef of all time, bro. Like,
That's
why the
just
fuck
pot
is
and kettle. That's a Spider Man meme too. It's like just like you ass, bro. Like okay, we both ass.
No, for real. And it's crazy. I just seen the podcast with Theo Pinson talking about it literally right. I literally saw the clip on my YouTube short right before that game pulled up yesterday. Talking about he should have won lottery out of Colorado. I'm like, okay,
huh?
your biggest competition out of your school was Alex Burke, and you thought that you was going to beat him in the league. Like, relax, bro. He
One
really
thing
are.
about Alex Burks, he gonna keep a job.
Hey,
I'm gonna
No,
say
for
word with it.
no
He
sure.
cap.
gonna keep a job. His ass
If,
stay with a spot. I don't know how.
No cap. Detroit in the most irrelevant place. Detroit, all yeah.
I
And
mean, New
he was on
York,
the Heat last time.
Utah, that nigga. I know you don't get your passport step from going state to state, but if NBA teams had a stamp, like a passport stamp, that nigga shit would be full in a
No cap. No cap. He on
He
the Ish
got a
Smith
postcard
hand.
from every city.
lot.
Greetings from Portland.
Nah, you right, Nick. Like it's as well rounded as that Dallas team is. We've seen personally, all it takes is one shot chucker to shoot you out of the game. And
No cap.
Dimwitty does have that, like I said, that Marcus Smart potential to, like you said,
Y'all don't want
have
this shot? It's up.
y'all trust me to shoot this? I got you. No,
He
that's
gonna
a
dribble around for about 17 seconds first,
No
then
cap.
he gonna get the shot.
he don't know. He ran on the side like, oh, Luca got hurt. Oh, it's my time.
Say less.
Let me get that rock, Kyrie.
Hey, Kai, I got you. I got you.
He done
Nah,
took the bottom off Luca's shoe the whole time. He done unglued the
damn.
bottom.
My bad, bro.
They
I
I get
seen
thought
your
him in the
Sherlock
locker
Holmes
room.
musical guy.
Ooh, whatever shall we do?
I don't know what our identity right now, me and Mike was talking about, I think is we soft as hell, like as a team. Internally. Like, you know what I mean? Like not to the other team, but like internally, like we soft. Like we can't talk to each other. Just a bunch of little kids.
Let's move on and let's talk about a game that pained me as well as my FanDuel account. Celtics, Philadelphia. We saw the big three for Philly. They get a big time win over Boston. Their first time losing back to back games in, I want to say 2 years. So, what is y'all's biggest takeaway from that Celtics Sixers game? A game in which Joel Embiid got injured pregame and still played, though.
I'm gonna throw this. I'm gonna make a cross cultural, cross athletic reference. Like, because I mean, I just want to, and I want to hear how you feel about it specifically, Nick, as a New England fan. Like, we talk about Kansas City and Philly, in the NFL as two teams that we just don't like the way they win. Obviously, they both been winning at a high level, but the way that they do it, the process, and just the overall way that they go about it, it doesn't inspire a lot of confidence. But I feel the same way about Boston. Like, hey, we know. I mean, it's a make or miss league, but they're more reliant upon making their threes than any other team in the league, I would say. But and I don't want to throw the S word out there, but I just feel like they're one of the most inconsistent or up and down streaky, elite teams that we have in this league. Like we can, especially when they have KP. Like you can look at that team when Jalen's defending and Tatum's getting downhill, and even when like in later in that game when they recognized when Embiid was out and they had no rim protector, like seeing them intentionally getting downhill, you can see like the foundation, the makers was of, hey, this team can be unstoppable when they're in that mindset.
Yeah.
But whether it's you lose to Atlanta at home, you lose to Chicago at home, and obviously you're not gonna go 41-0 at home. But I just see too many times to where, oh, we got it, or we're not gonna show up today. But for them to not get that one on Christmas Day with the way that Paul George struggled, it definitely just gave me a side eye to them like, can y'all still don't have that I don't know, that championship Baba Ganesh to where y'all don't have that pride of nobody can come into y'all trap and take it. So that was, like I said, Joe played like he was supposed to play as a guy that's only played 7 games out of the hell. No, Maxi showed up. Caleb Martin killed them again. I guess he
Whoa,
like
whoa, whoa. I'm gonna have to slow your train, gang. You getting off the rails a little bit.
my bad,
So
my bad. Go ahead, go
first
ahead.
I
We
want
talking
to
about some
address
championship.
no Cal. First I want to talk about Caleb Martin because I got a problem with that nigga, bro. You
I
ain't
bet
get,
you.
you
He
ain't.
hate ball, bro. He is so evil,
But he
bro.
like a
He
That's what I'm
bull,
saying. Like you ain't
but
hit shit all year and you go 7 for 9 from three in
then he want to
Boston.
wrestle at. Then he want to wrestle during the game. So like, come on, bro. I hate that dude.
No cap, bro.
He's a hoe.
Yeah, so like Caleb Martin, like nobody, you're the designated help off guy, and you hit your shots. Congratulations. But I will say, I don't think Boston is inconsistent. My biggest takeaway from this, and this is gonna go back to what you said, Josh, is that Drew Holiday might be the most important piece, not named Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, to Boston winning the finals this year. No Holiday, like I said, on Christmas. Maxi gets off for 33. I'm not gonna say Derek White isn't as good of a defender, but when you have those two elite, really three elite, counting JB in there, perimeter defenders, that makes your defense 10 times better. Because if you look at what Maxi was able to do, he was able to play with the screens. We're dropping Porzingis. The defense is in rotation. That's how Martin got them open threes. That's how Maxi got off. Like having those two elite ball stoppers up top who can fight over those screens, stay attached. That's the key to Boston winning because we put up 114 points, shot over 40% from three, but we gave up 118. And like I said, part of that is Caleb Martin hitting open shots, which he hadn't done all year. But the other part of that is missing arguably the best perimeter defender in basketball. And offensively, I don't think we had a problem. You get 32 from Tatum, 23 from Jaylen Brown. That's a game you win 9 times out of 10. On Christmas, unfortunately, the 76ers took it as well as $5 from me. So congratulations to them. I still don't take that team seriously. So
And I think that's why they won the game. Like I look at it as like a one off because like this is a team that we don't respect. This is a team that they always get up for this game. When it was the playoff semis the
oh
year before
god,
last, it was a crazy series. Like it's just something about like whether you want to call it a rivalry game, they in the garden. Nobody thought they were going to win, but that's the type of games that they win. They're fighting for nothing. I'm fairly confident that their season probably over. As we can see, they're one drop of water, one slip rolled ankle away, one tweak away from. I mean, Joel Embiid fell behind on a velvet rope. The dude wasn't even on the court, and he just like only that would happen to him. I think if you watch this team, like, so they always complain about NBA ratings. They are a part of that problem. We don't want to keep seeing this team. And I get they won the game. I get it's competitive. We don't want to keep seeing
not
Philly
at
every
all.
time they ever
oh God,
like
flex them
this.
out of
Is
their
like, come on, bro.
spot.
I've said this so many times even when Embiid went down, they kept putting him on TNT. They kept putting his team on ESPN. If you want to call it a trap game, whatever. This game, like Nick said, no Drew Holiday. A lot of times he can be the X factor. You talk about Tyrese Maxey. No disrespect to him, that kid is the ultimate shot checker. For him to play that efficient, that is not going to happen. You talk about 9 times out of 10, 33 and 12. Give me a break. That kid is really. I'm gonna struggle to get 25. I'm gonna take 28 shots, 7 assists, and probably 7 turnovers. He played well. I'll give him that. But he is not doing that every night. Because if he was doing that every night, we would not be talking about flex this team. We'd be talking about watch out for this team. But they can't stay healthy. They can't stay efficient. And if you're waiting on Caleb Martin to give you 7 for 9 and knock down threes to be the playoff team, you are going to be waiting. Yeah, the shots fell. Yeah, they won. But again, missing Drew Holiday, and you talked about the threes. I think that's just a product of getting it how you live. Now, I will say at times we are kind of a little bit 2-3 happy, but if that's what's working for you. So if there does come a day that they're not falling, we have a bunch of 7 footers in line that can go get you a bucket. Now they have to adjust to that. But again, if you're knocking down, they just hit 28 threes in a game, but in that same game, they didn't know when to stop shooting because they won that 3-point record. They probably missed 20 straight threes.
And a
So that'll
loop.
happen. There are sometimes they won't fall to your point, but they have to understand and they have to be coached as though they can understand, like, okay, those threes are not falling. This is the same criticism that I have for Tatum in the playoffs. A lot of time he didn't know when to stop chucking up threes. He's 6 with 10. There is nobody that can stick with him to the rim, but he doesn't like operate sometimes like that, and that's where Josh, you kind of illustrated this. That's where y'all's frustration with him is like, okay, buddy, what are you doing? The same thing. Ant does the same thing. I don't know when the hell he got in the lab and was like, I'm gonna start chucking up threes. Ant take 13, 14, 15 threes a game. As hard as I am on Anthony Edwards, there is no one in the league that can keep up with him to the rim, euros, dunks, stop, and he can get to the midi a little bit. He's
Oh
probably the best
God.
athlete in the league. He doesn't realize that Tatum is one of the better athletes in the league. So yeah, maybe one time they might shoot themselves out of a game, but they're never going to shoot themselves out of a series. You talk about whether or not they want to play 9 guys, they can. This team is so confident that they're not just rolling Jordan Walsh and Kada and Cornette on garbage time. Jordan Walsh
No
was getting
cap.
first quarter minutes the other day. So, like, this is a team that you have coaching, you have culture. But, Josh, that is a good point about the threes. They just have to realize that you don't have to live and die by that. Now, it is a make or miss league. It is a 3-point league. So, if that's your advantage, use it. But to your point, they don't have to live and die by it. But now it's not like this is what are we, 22 and 8, 9, something
Yeah,
like that? I
22
don't
and
even
8. 22 and 8.
right. Okay.
Still
It's not
two in the
crucial.
East.
There's no smoke about it. There's no pressure about it. Like if that was a playoff game, Drew Holiday would have played. Tyrese Maxey would have went 12 for 32, and we wouldn't even be talking about this. So that's I
Hey,
give it a 1 off. Congrats to Philly. And B cooked my parlay by a rebound, so took my $5.
and I'll throw this in too, bro. It's kind of just like law averages too, bro. We saw Tyrese Maxey shit his pants last year on Christmas.
Oh
He got
yeah, come
right
on.
this year. Congratulations, my brother.
Nah, I think a box score examination. I mean, I even remember this because, nah, I definitely agree with Maxi. I think the All Star hype that he's gotten previously is definitely overblown. But yeah, they had like what 7 turnovers the whole game. He had 3 of them in the last minute. You know, like you said, Caleb Martin, they go 19 from 19 from the free throw line. JoJo Embiid actually plays, so they're definitely. I don't think there's a takeaway honestly for Philadelphia. Definitely does feel like a one off, but just seeing the general trend of Boston over the past 2 weeks, that'll be the biggest thing with their play style. They seem to just get more bored than any other top team in the league. And you know, like you said, with the record they got at the top of the Eastern Conference right now, it's not a problem. But I don't want them to be in a situation, or I don't care, but I can easily see them be in a situation to where they sleepwalk themselves in the spot they can't get out of. You know, they shoot 27%, from three in the first 2 games of an Eastern Conference second round series. It's like, what do we do now? And it's like, well, y'all been doing, but it's been working for y'all for the last 90 games. It's gonna be hard to kind of, retrack in that way. So that's my only thing. A team that this bad, you just don't want to see them fall into that chucker get bored flow that they kind of get it to. And it was just a national spotlight to showcase that, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
So I agree with you. I think Boston's gonna be fine. But before we move on to the next game, I gotta ask y'all just one question, and I'm gonna keep it anonymous because I don't want to be a negative Nancy. But let's say, for example, hypothetically, a guy's averaging 15.9 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, shooting about 40% from the field, shooting about 30% from three. Y'all giving that guy 4 years, over 200 mil?
No siree.
Is that pandemic P?
That's even on
Podcast
Elon.
fee, whatever you want to call him. I mean,
Nah, he's looking like good caca out there for sure. That's that.
When they told that dude he could do anything but stay healthy, he's like, what does that have to do with the game? I guess he was right.
Legend at the
Uh,
bank. Now that's it. That's it. And it's we'll move on. But at this point, like, what a move does Philly have?
I
Like,
forgot he was out there the other day when they were talking
bro,
about Paul Jordan. I
he
was
was
like,
looking
oh
like he
shit.
was looking real Wigginish.
He
Like
was
that's the
looking real
Andrew Wiggins.
Tobias Harris.
Nah, don't do Tobias Harris. Like at least
Tobias
he's.
winning games. He
I was
over
about
there
to say
with.
he's starting out the
They
Hey,
trip
got
for
more. They got more
Detroit.
wins than this. They won a game last night.
Dead
They out
ass.
there hooping.
Nah, like what move does Philly have at this point? Because I'm gonna definitely agree with TJ. Like,
they
you
cooked,
know,
bro. They were
their
cooked.
season is done. Like, but even like asset wise, like
They
all of
can't.
their assets are not even in terms of like lack of flexibility, but value right now. Like, who
Oh
trading
yeah.
for? You're
Their
not
best
getting
player
a.
hurt. Their best player just got hurt.
They're getting maybe 60 cents on the dollar for any of those guys that they trade. And I mean, you know, I don't even with a guy like Maxey, I don't that's their best asset. I think they'll hold on to him. But outside of their particular core, what is the value for, a Trae Young trope, essentially, a guy that a one position defender, a guy that is a chucker, and a guy that we haven't seen really contribute to playoff basketball. Like,
He's a chucker, but he's not like chucker and maker are not mutually
Not
like
at
you
all.
can chuck like Trae Young can chuck, but Trae Young he'll drop 40, 50. Trae
He
Young will
just
give you a good 40, 50, and you'll be like, damn, he can play.
he just
Tyrese
went off for
Maxey, like,
20 and a
dude,
quarter, bro.
I'm about to say,
no,
like they had the Bulls only had 25 themselves. Like, come on now. You could look at Maxey, you be like, he's a chucker, but it's like, damn, bro, can you stop? The All-Star thing, like that All-Star was such a like here, damn, here you go, like ass All-Star. So, like when they put him in the game, here, damn, bro, you get in. Like I hate to be like just target Tyrese Maxey, but like don't nobody want him. Like if he could play, don't get me wrong, he's an NBA player, All-Star level, whatever. But don't nobody want him. Nobody sitting at their drawing board like, nah, sure, will somebody take him? Absolutely. But wanting something and take like, oh, okay, I'll take it. But like, ain't nobody like, damn, we gotta get Tyrese Maxey. Like, if he fell in somebody's lap, if you was like, okay, you know what? Too expensive, not contributing, winning basketball, Jared McCain, you go. Because as far as I'm concerned, that's their best player right now. Efficient, diamond, shooting. He was their best player before he went down. If they even had a chance to win games, it was because of him. If you only need one player in basketball and a few others, you can build around Jared McCain. Get rid of Embiid. There is some team out here wagging their tongue, wagging their tail, like, oh, we'll take him, we'll take him. That is that bad that they don't give a
Toronto.
damn if he, huh?
Toronto, they love them Africans up there.
I'm saying if he's that bad, or if you're not even guaranteed to get 30 games, Toronto will take 30 games of Embiid over Mugbo and Grady Dick and Jameson Battle and Chris Boucher, whoever the hell else they
No
rolling out
joke.
every night. Okay, if they got to tear it down, you need to hire Bob Myers first off. You got him hanging around, the organ.
beefing
Hire
with
him.
Stephen A. and Kendrick. Nah, you
Come
right.
on, bro. I'm tired of watching that dude on NBA. He
Hey,
is
nah,
awful.
for
I'm
real.
tired of watching him, bro. Who let their dad fill in the spot for somebody that deserves? Like he is terrible. He's bad on the games. He's bad on the panel. They just sit there and yell at him, or he just basically says like shit with racist undertones the whole time.
Oh God.
We'll just talk about this old Warriors teams, bro. That's it,
Like, but
cuz.
we don't give a damn. Like they're dead. They're never coming back, bro. Those teams have been so bad past that last championship that half these kids don't even remember that they won 4 rings. We're so far past that. Like, kudos to them. Good job, buddy. But we're not gonna remember that shit. The new NBA fan base, they want to see Ja and they want to see them
Shade,
young cats.
yeah.
Shea. Oh, there, yeah.
We don't give a rat's ass about no 4 rings. That's all Draymond could do when he ready to threaten somebody's life. Or like, okay, we don't care. Like, Bob Myers, get off my TV. Go be a GM. You build around Jared McCain. Hell, why don't y'all ask for Jimmy Butler back? I'm sure he'd love to come back. Mr. Tobias Harris over me. What Tobias Harris gone, bro? Going back to Philly. Go get Ben Simmons, run it back, and do what you do.
Oh, that's crazy, but we got one more game to talk about. But based on your past comments, I
I'm about
guess
to say.
niggas don't want to talk about Unks getting it on Christmas, bro.
Nah, we can talk about it.
Cause I ain't gonna lie, Unc them was hooping on Christmas, bro.
Yeah, they
For
was. They
sure.
was.
Cause that LA Golden State game, they definitely say the best for last. Looking at how Steph came back and hoop, bounced back after having some down games, after getting that 50 piece by the Grizzlies, you feel me? So, what was y'all's takeaway from that Golden State LA game?
Appreciate it while it's here, bro. It's a lot of narrative out there about the state of the hands of the hands of the league are in and the quality of play. Honestly, I think that the day to day NBA media cycle it gets overblown. I think that there was always gonna be a transitional period, and there's the league what is not LeBron and Steph. There's always been somebody to hold that mantle. I don't think that's going to be dropped, in a way that's been unprecedented in the NBA that's never been before. But just appreciating what we have, like the history between those two guys. Like you even see the interview that they have with them two and KD. Like they are that. This is almost not even almost like this is our Bird Magic moment. Like this is similar to the area in terms of I don't think the league was in the place that needed to be saved. But you talk about the faces of the era. These are the faces of the era. So, and it ain't a Ewing on Orlando or a Hakeem in Toronto type of situation. Like these guys are still high level performers. So team wise, both of those teams, like again, they're on the make a moves, the daily make a move cycle. Dennis Schroeder doesn't look like the guy that is a good guy on a bad team. I don't think that he comes in right away. I don't think that he just fits the mold of that team in terms of off ball shooting defender next to Steph. Like let him run this either let him run the second unit or whatever. But so the team success, I guess, for both of those guys, I would mark as irrelevant at this point. But just appreciating that these two guys can go out and still do it at this level and provide, this level of greatness for us on this holiday, especially when the NFL was trying to walk in a trap. That was just my biggest takeaway. Shout out Mike Breen. Shout out Block by
Yeah,
James. Shout out the
for
Double
real.
Bang. So like I said, these are look like two playing teams, but we're looking at two all time greats, and I just don't think
Damn,
we need
both of
to
them.
for sure.
So you don't think it's now one playoff spot for you? So like the way the West is, you think okay? So like, does anyone have like the standings? Like
Yeah,
who's
I gotta pull it up right now. So right now the Lakers are currently number six, and they what 7.5 games behind first. Golden State currently sitting at 10, and they 9 games behind first.
who's at 4 and 5?
Four is
Dallas and
Dallas and Denver.
I think they can keep 5 or 6. Like I mean, yeah, it's you're squeaking in the playoffs, but like you don't. There's no tell. We just seen Denver. Like we just seen them do what they do. It's no telling they keep that spot. The Mavericks, like I said, they're equipped for it, but like that doesn't mean they're gonna go out and do it. We don't know what the schedule look like. We don't know. The NBA is weird like that. And then like you always have to worry about the play-in teams coming out of the play-in and stealing that spot because Phoenix did it last year. They were in the play-in and they stole that last spot. Um, Now I'm not gonna be like, oh, they'll be top 3, but I think they can stay 6. Like I know I picked them to go to the finals, and that might have been a little reckless, but like I still like them. They make one move. They compete on a nightly basis. They might throw up some bullshit every night, but at the end of the day, they compete. They have a new coach. They're on a better trajectory than they have been in some years. They just went to the finals year before. Like it's not like this team is like, oh, whatever shall we do? Zach LaVine save us. I mean, he can help them, but like they're a competitive team. Like, yeah, sometimes they are like, damn, they just lost to the Pistons, but then they go put on Golden State. Sometimes they'll beat Denver, they'll beat OKC. Like, there's work for that team to be done. Now they are not a front running ass team. Like, hey, look at us, we just won 70 games. Who's gonna beat us? They're gonna sneak in the playoffs with 48 games, and then you're gonna look up, be like, damn, they're in the conference finals. You never
Exactly.
know. They
Yeah.
compete. They compete.
I think kind of to your point talking about the Lakers is I think we kind of see that we're starting to see them evolve. Obviously, AD got hurt on Christmas, wasn't able to finish the game, but that last possession in that game speaks to me a lot. Austin Reeves hit the game winning shot. Bron didn't touch the rock. That shit was a AR ISO. He finished the game with 26 points. Think about the moment. We talking about Bron versus Steph. AR hits the game winner. Like we're seeing these young guys for LA step up and pick up the slack in ways that we haven't seen before, especially last year and years past where it looked like it was just Braun and AD. Now they've got guys stepping up contributing. You get 18 from Rui, 26, like I said, from Austin Reeves, 16 from Max Christie. Like we're starting to see this Lakers team become more complete, and that's in addition to what we saw from AD or what we've seen from AD this whole year playing at a near MVP level. So I think to TJ's point, I think this Christmas game for LA kind of showed us that this team is headed in the right direction and could be a potentially tough out come end of the season. But for the Warriors, I think their little Cinderella beginning of the year run is over unless they make a big package move to bring another co-star with Steph Curry.
Yeah, I think the Dennis Schroeder thing was like they eyes is bigger than they stomach. Like I don't know, maybe it might end up working, but like it just looks a little clunky now because like they've been doing the same thing whether it be horns action, Steph running around, screen, or just like
Yeah.
literally like badass kids on the playground just running around. It's been working for years, but it just seems like Dennis Schroeder kind of coming and is just like, okay, everybody clear out, let's get the ball over here. It's like it's a lot of stagnation. Now I do understand he's a new player, like he's kind of fitting into a
He's a
system
true
that's
yeah. He's a true point
yeah,
guard too. He's
yeah,
a true
yeah.
point guard.
He's a real like Lob City type of kick it out to the corner. I'm gonna take my threes, get to the midi. Everybody's gonna eat. I'm gonna eat. Dennis Schroeder is a real like a little bit less of a Rajon Rondo type of 18 and 7 type of guy.
Yeah,
He's
I think the best way to explain it is Schroeder gonna set the table, but the
right.
Golden State offense, like the table just moves and sets yourself
That's
up.
what I'm
Like
saying. Like that.
it
That's
doesn't
not
need
like
a
a
table setter.
right,
Like that whole
right.
the Golden State offense like the little all you can eat sushi on a conveyor belt. That nigga Schroeder in the kitchen trying to cook that shit and
I'm
hand
gonna
it
say they
out to
can run that.
everybody.
They can hand that shit to Trace Jackson Davis, and he can like they run the offense to literally everybody. Like they'll
D'Angelo.
literally
Exactly.
pass it. They
Exactly.
pass to everyone, and they let Steph run around. They let Wiggins cut. They let Kuminga like they don't have like a here. If you don't get us going, we're not gonna eat. This is
Exactly.
like a potluck. You bring this, you bring this, you bring that.
And
Schroeder's
we gonna
like,
make it work. Yeah.
damn, you're not gonna let me cook, man. Like it just so that's why when you looked at him on the net, you're like, damn, Schroeder got what was it, 19 and 8? He ain't
Yeah.
never done that. But like I don't want to say never, but like he's never had the chance to be that guy, and it was efficient. Even that the Nets sorry as hell, but he still was like, if they were winning games, it was because of him.
Exactly.
No, it's
Doc
like
Rivers
he
straight up said it. He was like in Brooklyn, like one of the reporters asked him, like, who do you stop in that Brooklyn team, like a team with no star? He was like, shit, Dennis Schroeder, a star.
Yeah,
no, like in the point we can move on for this, but Dennis Schroeder needs the ball in his hand to the level of an all-star, all NBA guy in order to get his most to maximize his effectiveness. And you're not gonna be putting the ball in Dennis Schroeder's hands on a consistent basis if you're a playing team or you're a playoff team or a team that's looking to be a championship contender. So just that mash of how like his play style and the compatibility to a championship contender, I think that's the ultimate crux right there, the mix up. Because yeah, no team that's gonna be a top four seed in either conference, top five seed in either conference is gonna want to let is gonna roll Dennis Schroeder out there in crunch time. Or, gonna want to let three straight offensive positions run through Dennis Schroeder. So I think that yeah, that was just a miss in terms of what they thought he could bring to the team and how flexible and adaptable he could be. But yeah, I think it's starting to bear out that he's a guy that he needs the ball in his hand, and you're not going to get the ball in his hand to the level that he needs with this Golden State team.
they just don't hold on to the ball. Like that is not their offensive. You get it, you give it up. They got guys cutting to the basket. They love doing that play where one guy cuts and then the other guy comes up off the wing and then they lob it up or they like you think you're about to shoot and they pass like they love passing the ball. Like well, one number 71. Like who did that to him? Who did that to that man? That might be the first problem. I don't give a damn like that. You got to reserve that for somebody that's raw. Like if you're gonna be putting on some bullshit like number 71, you got to be dropping 30 and like. But that's not gonna happen on the team. Like they don't let anybody. Like they don't even let Steph play 30 minutes. Like what the hell did the Schroeder finna do?
Most funniest thing though was when we got traded. I was kind of shocked, and my wife told him we got traded, and he asked where we going, and we said Golden State. He was like, oh, we lucky now. It's a good team at least.
So now as we wrap this episode up, we done talked about the teams a little bit, but I think one of the biggest takeaways from Christmas basketball as a whole was, to Josh's point, the NBA punched back against the NFL trying to walk in their trap and take over their trap, especially with some of the ratings decline we've seen with the NBA game. So I want to ask y'all, like we all watch these games, obviously we're all fans of the league, but from an aesthetic, like just watching perspective, how have y'all felt the game has changed, and how do y'all think that has affected the ratings, uh, just on a night to night watching the game basis?
I think that people give too much credence to NBA Twitter. People give too much credence to narratives out there that they see and not be able to form their own thoughts and think for themselves. Yeah, the game is more spaced out and more, everybody's not dunking on each other. You don't got the Anthony Masons unskilled guys in the league that you had, I guess, in the quote unquote heyday, what people are referring to. But you have to be a complete idiot to see that guys are this is the most skilled that guys ever been,
Oh
and
God.
the adaptation of the game is evolving faster than it's ever been. Look at a guy like Steph Curry, but this is a guy that truly changed the course of the league, and you're seeing that bear out. So we can't say that we're about skill evolution or the evolution of the game, and then when that evolution happens, that we complain about it. So I just think that it's just too much NBA Twitter media narrative out there, and not enough appreciation and recognition. Like, hey, the league is as good as it's ever been. So I just think that you gotta shift your focus a little bit.
And I'm gonna build on that. And I think one of the problems with the ratings and things like that is, and this sounds bad, but social media has had a negative impact on the league. More people are getting there or are informing their sports opinions, their thoughts on the league, like you said, from social media instead of watching the game and being like, "Oh,
Because the games are harder to watch. Nobody can watch the
that's true.
hometown team. So it's
That's true."
like even me, like we're trying to watch the Dallas Memphis game a couple weeks ago because I'm out here. I'm 2 hours from Dallas. Like I had to watch it on Metstream. So you're having the cost of watching games, the accessing games is harder, and social media is more expensive than ever. So yeah, especially somebody that's not paying their own cable bill, UTTV bill, they're gonna be way more apt to get their content from NBA University, NBA Central versus sitting down and watching the game. So consuming from this highlight clip culture, you're gonna get the highs and lows of that.
Exactly. But when you sit down and watch the game, in my opinion, the game is still beautiful. I'ma still watch no matter who hooping. And it's the same with football. Like if it's a game on, I'm watching it, especially with basketball because basketball is a game where every possession something spectacular can happen. Whether it's a three, like I went to the Clippers Grizzlies game on Monday. Every James Harden ISO was just beautiful, bro. Like it's just something about the game that I appreciate and I will always appreciate and I will always watch. So when people talk about the threes, it being too many threes, things like that, like you said, Josh, it's the evolution of the game, and the game is still a beautiful game. It's just grown and morphed into something that's a little bit different, but it's still beautiful. You feel me?
Bro, I'm over here fighting sleep trying to watch the end of a Kings Pistons game. Don't ever tell me the NBA dead. I'm like, bro,
Man, what?
come on now. So
Blazers, Jazz, they got into it too.
nah,
Blue game.
the real app had me posted. So yeah, I just think that the way that we consume the game is different, and that it's not as all encompassing. Where you're seeing highlights, you're seeing every made shot, you're seeing all of the 43s that have been taken. You're not seeing just a lot of context and nuance is being missed. You have a lot more fans nowadays that. You have more fans than ever that aren't watching the full games or have a lower base knowledge than ever before. So now I just think that we have more uninformed fans making more uninformed takes than we've ever had before. With just like you said, how expansive social media, how accessible, highlights and clips are on socials.
And I ain't gonna lie, like we talking about threes, the Grizzlies put up 155 last night with 18 threes. 18, 155 points. The league, we're not a 3-point shooting league, bro. Every team still has its style. Every team still gonna get buckets. Like the league is in good hands, bro. And
I
I'm
think
excited for all the young guys too, bro. Like the league is in good hands.
I also think like the more sinister aspect of it is sports betting. Like a lot of people, same with like fantasy sports. A lot of people that affects the game, like the way you watch the game. Like if Shea don't cash your parlay, if Tatum don't, oh the Celtics ass, oh he's shooting too. Like that is the more sinister aspect. They put out reports before the season talking about they expect 90 billion, 90 this to be wagered. You got FanDuel on the court, FanDuel on the mound, FanDuel in the end zone.
Prize Pick sponsored every podcast
Like, come on,
ever.
bro.
Um,
What happened to like? Why the hell is a current face of basketball the current
no
face of
cap,
DraftKings? Does
no cap.
anyone else find that? So they brought the house down on Jonte Porter, but LeBron can get a damn DraftKings deal. Like LeBron is
And
the face
give
of
his picks too, bro.
give his picks. He got discounts. They give him picks. Brothers give picks on basketball games too. Like I thought the whole point of being an athlete, the most taboo, awful, terrible thing you could do besides steroids was gambling. Where did we become a society where you can just, oh well, not only is LeBron invested in DraftKings, he the damn face of it. LeBron giving you his picks. LeBron going on YouTube, oh pick this team, oh pick this person for a touchdown. So when we talk about the way that people watch the game, okay, we all bet too, but I can understand like if sports is like what we want to do, right? If we want to be able to talk about it, we can separate it. Okay, yeah, they blew my parlay, but Scoot Henderson hit a game winner. That shit
Yeah.
ain't gonna ever happen again. Like you have to appreciate Jaden Ivey, a 4 point game. The Pistons. So let me get this straight. The Pistons have won on a 4 point game winner. The Pistons won a game because the coach called a timeout he didn't have
No.
in overtime, bro. The Pistons just blew a lead to was it the Heat the other day? They were
Yeah,
up
the
like
Heat.
20
Yeah.
with like 2 minutes left. These are like we talked about these teams like the scum of the earth before the season. The Nets just beat the Bucks. The Bucks just won the NBA Cup. These teams are having these spectacular ass games, and because my parlay didn't hit, oh man, team ass. Shea garbage. Anthony he ass. Laurie he sorry. Wemby he ass. He like that has affected the way that we watch. Same with football, fantasy football. Oh, you didn't get my PPR points. You trash. I don't want to watch shit. I'm cutting this off. I'm checking Bleacher Report. I'm watching box scores. Like I want to see how can they benefit me. Like most people you ask about that shit, they're gonna tell you from a sports betting perspective. They're not gonna tell you X and O's. They're not gonna talk about
Their
zones
perspective
and
is
gap.
flipped, bro.
If you're not making money, they're like, okay, well, what can they do for me? You talk about some of the nastiest, horriblest things. That shit coming from NBA Twitter, NFL Twitter. They will have you think that one guy's MVP, this guy's the worst player in the league. They'll have you think Caleb Williams is this and Jaden Daniels is this. They just tried to tell me. Don't get me wrong, this guy's playing. They just tried to tell me Drake May was a top 10 quarterback. I'm like, what the hell? What are y'all doing, bro? He don't get me wrong, he's good, but like NFL
Top
Twitter
10
is so,
crazy, yeah.
like he might get there one day, but like they take one game after the preseason game where Caleb Williams
No,
was.
they don't take one game, but they take one clip, bro.
I'm saying, bro, they were like Drake May just made the craziest throw I've ever seen. I'm like, come on, bro. There's NFL quarterback do that shit every game. Like he's good. Don't get me
Exactly.
wrong, but like they took the. Do y'all remember the clip of Caleb Williams running around that preseason game? I had this in my phone. I took a screenshot. No joke. He already better than Lamar, top 3 in the league. This was a preseason game, bro. This is the type of toxicity, the type of blind, and it's coming from these fan bases, bro. They started a whole civil war over 2 sorry ass franchises who had the best quarterback, but they were both picking 1 and 2. That means y'all ass. That means
Exactly.
y'all's ass.
Yeah, I
Exactly.
think if you look at basketball and football, I think to put a button on this, the game, it's not the game that's necessarily in the bad place. It's the narrative and the media consumption of the game that's really in the bad place.
Yeah.
Like I've been getting a lot more into the real app because I just like the interface of it. Anytime you click on a player, you go into the box or you click on a certain player stats, look at the comments. It's nothing but 8 rebound assists, 22 for me, buddy. Cash my parlay. Like so little of the actual comments are the comment section is nothing but a cesspool of cast or missed out parlays and
Exactly.
bets. So it's not like I said. Ultimately, I think the game is healthy. The way that we consume the game and the way that we talk about the game. That's the unhealthy part.
And I think that's the best way to sum it up, bro. It's the best way to sum it up. So thank y'all for tuning in. Another episode of No Cap Sports in the books, man. Make sure y'all stay locked with us. Next week, college football playoff. We coming to y'all live after the last game on New Year's Day. So make sure y'all tap in with us for that. Also, make sure y'all follow us on our socials, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all of that. Make sure you do that. And with that, man, happy holidays, happy New Year, and we out of here, man.
Boom.